Thank you very much for your comment and your questions. So the reason why bus drivers would insist on using Mira is probably because of the effect of increased alertness that Mira produces. So when you're chewing, then you feel more alert, more awake, and so that enables them to perhaps drive. But that comes at a cost because their cognitive function is usually impaired when they're under the influence of Mira. And so the way that they react, the way that they make decisions on the road is also impaired. And that puts the driver and the people on the bus at risk of these impaired decision making capacities. Because if you're supposed to react to something in less than a second, and the influence of Mira perhaps puts your reaction time at 2 seconds, then that is going to cause accidents, for example. Now, to your second question, isn't there an alternative to help them stay awake during the night drive? And it's tied to your first question because that's the reason why they chew. So my answer is this: there is absolutely no alternative to sleep at all. Sleep is vital, sleep is essential. There is nothing that can replace sleep at all. And this is not just for bus drivers. There is nothing at all that can replace sleep. You must sleep. Your brain must rest. It has to undergo that restorative sleep to be able to allow you to function the following day. So if you're not letting that restorative sleep to happen, then you're not going to function the following day as optimally or as productively. Sleep is absolutely vital. And I'm saying this emphatically because a lot of people do not value their sleep. So if a person, evidence to say why sleep is very important, if a person does not sleep for 18 hours, the effects of that sleep deprivation, of that 18 hours sleep deprivation, is equivalent to the effect of a person who has drunk 2 bottles of beer. So it's equivalent to a person who has 0.05% of blood alcohol concentration. If a person goes for 24 hours without sleeping, the effects of that sleep deprivation is equivalent to a person who's drunk 4 bottles of beer. So that's 0.1% of blood alcohol concentration. And 0.1%, the effects, that's considered above the legal limit for driving in many countries. And that's why in many countries they have implemented this rule that a driver cannot drive more than 12 hours. A driver cannot be awake for more than 15 hours. These restrictions are very important in preventing accidents, in reducing accidents on the road. Because one of the reasons why accidents happen is because somebody fell asleep on the wheel or is experiencing the effects of sleep deprivation while driving. So there's impaired judgment, there's low reaction time, they are not able perhaps to see properly. And so these problems come directly as a result of sleep deprivation. There is no alternative for sleep. There is nothing at all that can replace sleep. People must sleep. And so drivers must be allowed to sleep. It actually has to be a rule that they sleep for at least 8 hours, because the average that we require for an adult is between 7 to 9 hours. So they must get sleep. And so if we have those restrictions, perhaps for our own drivers here, and I think I did see something being worked on, or there was a suggestion about it, I don't know if it's been taken up or it's being worked on, I'm not very sure. But if we can enforce the same laws to our own drivers, that a driver cannot be on the road, like one of the things that they have to log in is when they got in to drive and how many hours they've driven. And so if those hours come to 12 hours, then it's illegal for them to drive. If they've already driven for 12 hours on that day, they have to go sleep, come back another day, and then continue driving. And so those laws would be very helpful for our drivers, because there's absolutely no replacement for sleep. There's no amount of Khat that you can chew that can replace the sleep that you require or that your body requires.